Hey friends, in this video, I'll be showing you how I track WhatsApp sales back to ads. This is a form of server-side attribution. This video is primarily for media buyers who run Meta ads, TikTok ads, Google ads for businesses that heavily rely on WhatsApp as a source to drive sales. Traditionally, if you're a media buyer, you run ads across Facebook, Google ads, TikTok, display. You drive ad clicks to a website, and of 1,000 people that are driven to your website from ad, there's a certain number of people who click on WhatsApp button clicks. So this is an example over here. A full disclaimer here, I don't work with this brand. This is a sample of how I might implement this system for this company over here. So if let's say you drive 1,000 people to this platform, if you click this WhatsApp button over here, right, as advertisers, there's really no way to track how many people actually sent the WhatsApp message, and of the people who sent the WhatsApp message, how many people actually are closed, how many people actually schedule an appointment, and of how many people who schedule an appointment, how do we know how many people who actually turn up in your store and buy itself? So this system I've created solves that problem. Why did I create this? Because as a media buyer myself, I find myself really struggling when it comes to trying to track things on WhatsApp, right? So let's say I spend $1,000 on Google ads, one click costs $2, I get 500 clicks, assuming 450 people land on my website, assuming 5% of people click on the WhatsApp button, I know that 22 people actually clicked on the WhatsApp button like this over here. Traditionally, this is where WhatsApp tracking stops for ads because I can't track anything once someone clicks and goes to the WhatsApp domain, right? This system I've created here essentially allows you to have 100% visibility. When someone visits your browser, I have a script that captures all the browser data accordingly. So these are UTMs, Facebook clicks, GCLIDs, all sorts of information. So this is a sample of what my script collects. When you do server-side tracking, you want to collect as many identifiers as possible to then feed back to the ads platform to give them better data so that they can help you find better people who are like your ideal customers. After I capture the user's fingerprint, I then have a unique priority code which is injected onto the website. This is an example over here. So let's say this is a website that does business on WhatsApp and I need to order now via WhatsApp. It costs $15. The moment I click on this, traditionally, tracking will be lost. But then I have a custom script that injects something that's unique and creates a custom code for every single person who visits the website. So you can see here, the automated message I've populated here is, "Hi, I'm interested to order the 52 questions before getting engaged poker card deck, and the code ID is 314. For every single client that I implement this for, this unique code will be very unique. It won't be just a simple code ID because if let's say someone just changes a number, then that might give some issues. However, when someone actually clicks on this and open a WhatsApp browser, I can then track how many people actually sends a particular message, and I can tie that back to the specific code ID itself. Once I can match the code ID on the back end, there's many other information that I can use to match to give the ads platform data as much information as possible. So you can see here, this sample payload that I have here, there's this GCLID data, right? So traditionally, when you run Google ads, every single Google ad you run, right, has a campaign ID over here. So you can see there's a campaign ID in this sample brand I'm using. There's a GBRAID, and of course, there's also a GCLID. And I believe the GCLID for every click that's registered via Google Ads is unique. So think of a GCLID as an information that you can collect on the back end. And then once you know that this person has converted down the road, right, if you send this GCLID data back to Google Ads directly, you can then identify which specific ad, which specific search term, which specific keyword, which specific campaign drove this particular conversion as well. For every single unique person that visits a particular website, anyone who clicks on a WhatsApp button and is redirected accordingly, every one of this code ID would then be different, right? So let's say the next user that comes by will be 315, 316, 317. Of course, this system is not perfect in itself because if you open your WhatsApp chat, right, and if you see like there's a code ID, right, you might tend to delete it. That's one downside of the system. However, I have also custom scripts on the back end, right, that matches when someone clicked on the WhatsApp button, which is over here, and when someone actually sends a message. Usually it's about maybe a 1 to 2 minute to 3 minutes max delay, right? Because if you click on a WhatsApp button, usually you might send a message immediately, and even if I don't have the code ID itself, I still can match it based on time duration, which is done on the back end using my system. And once the unique priority code is injected, and if someone sends a WhatsApp message, this also is then stored in a Superbase database accordingly. And this database essentially belongs to you because I do believe that every single client should own their data. This is where you get a full funnel tracking system where you track the number of people who click on your WhatsApp button. You also track the number of people who send you WhatsApp messages. And you also, most importantly, track people who you have successfully sold to so that you can feed back this good information back to the ads platform so that you can see specifically which ad from Facebook, which ad from Google, which ad from TikTok, or which ad from display is the one that's responsible for driving that particular conversion for you. Let me do some quick math over here for you. I spend $1,000 on ads. One click costs $2. I get 500 clicks. 10% of people who drop off between my clicks and landing page, right? So if there's 500 people who click on my ads, maybe about 450 people will land on my website. Only 5% of them click on my WhatsApp button. A sample of this would be a WhatsApp button over here, or it can be a main WhatsApp button over here. I know this button says book now, but it can be, let's say, a WhatsApp us, right? I can then track of the 400 people that land on my website, maybe about 22 people or 23 people will click on my website, assuming a 5% conversion rate of people who click on my WhatsApp button. Not everyone who clicks on your WhatsApp button would then send a message. Let's make an assumption that 50% of people will send a WhatsApp message, and this means that only 11 people out of the 22 people will send you an actual WhatsApp message. And of those 11 people, I'm also willing to bet that majority of them would then have this code ID over here. And once you have this code ID over here, you then can have many other good information stacked onto it. Right? You can collect their GCLID if they came from Google ads. You can track their FBCLID if they came from Facebook ads. You can track their TTCLID if they come from TikTok ads. And they can basically collect a lot of other good information. We'll collect their IP address, their user agent, their fingerprint accordingly, the number of times they have visited your website. It captures all UTMs as well, campaign source, medium, content as well. This script I've created is meant to collect as much information as possible so that once a unique code is sent via WhatsApp, right, you are able to track specifically where they come from. And once you specifically track where they come from, you're then able to see exactly which ad did they see that resulted in a positive business result for you. Going back to this table, traditionally, if you run WhatsApp ads normally, you can only really track people who clicked on the WhatsApp button, and after that, you can't really track anything. But with this custom system, you're able to track a cost per WhatsApp message sent, and then you're also able to track the cost per WhatsApp message scheduled appointment. So let's say I'm implementing this system for this brand called Common Suit. 11 to 12 people send me a WhatsApp message. Of those 11 people, let me assume that 50% of people who send me a message actually schedules an appointment. That means about 5 to 6 people. And that's where I can calculate a cost per WhatsApp message scheduled appointment, which costs $177, which is calculated from dividing the ad spends of $1,000 divided by 5.625. The reason why this is 5.625 because it's not 5.625 people, it's just a general math. 5 to 6 people who then schedule an appointment. And of those people who then schedule an appointment, my assumption is that there's only 85% of people who will show up. That means maybe about 4 to 5 people, which is 4.78 people in this case. Of those people who showed up, 4 to 5 people, I'll then assume 50% of people buy from your service, right? If you assume 50 people or 4 to 5 people, that means about 2 to 3 people. And if 2 to 3 people buy from you, you can then accurately track what's the cost per WhatsApp sale, which in this case is about $418, calculated from taking $1,000 divided by 2 to 3 people. And assuming 2 to 3 people buy from you, right, you then have an average order value of someone who buys from you. So let's say when it comes to making a suit, to be honest, I have no idea how much they cost. A custom suit like this might cost maybe $500 to $600 onwards. These are all assumptions baked in, right? Because what am I doing? I'm media planning to potentially see how profitable this system is. Let's assume that the average order value of someone who buys is about $600. So the total revenue collected from someone who buys from my Google ads is about 1.4. So I take 6.39% times 600, which gives me an average revenue of about $1.4 thousand. And assuming the cost of goods sold is about 80%, I think the cost of goods sold is quite high. In this case, you need like craftsmanship, you need the material itself. This is an assumption I'm making because I don't personally know this brand. This is the thought process I'll do in terms of calculating how profitable WhatsApp is to your business itself. In this case, this is where we can come to an assumption of the profits as well. Assuming a 80% cost of goods sold, I then take the revenue, which is 1.4k, minus 80% of the revenue, which leaves me with a profit of $286. So now if I told you that you need to spend $1,000 to earn $286, of course, there are other things that needs to be calculated when it comes to running a business like overheads, rents, manpower, salary. But by and large, I will say that this is probably a good investment because if you spend $1,000 to earn $286 in profit, what's stopping you from increasing your Google ad spends from $1,000 to $2,000? Because if I told you spend $2,000 and you earn $573 in profit, this is actually quite a good deal in my opinion. Then of course, the game of pay ads begin where, okay, can I spend $5,000? Can I spend $10,000? Can I spend then $20,000 over here? If I told you I spent $20,000 and I'm able to earn $5,700 in profit, I do think this is a good deal. But of course, this depends on the scale of your media buyer itself? Are there limitations to specific ads platform as well? I've also included a projection for Facebook ads and TikTok ads because every ads channel you run is slightly different. The behavior of it is slightly different. The Google ads is the most qualified traffic you can get because I'm assuming that the traffic comes from search here, right? So if let's say I'm bidding on keywords like men suits, of course, Google ads will then give me the highest quality traffic. Facebook ads and TikTok ads are more interruption based. You're scrolling your Facebook, scrolling your TikTok, and halfway you see an ad and you click on it. So my assumption there is that the conversion efficiency is not very high. Hence, maybe I need to make some assumption. The cost per click is not very high. The percentage of people who click on my WhatsApp button is not very high. So in the ideal world, for any new media channel you run, right? Let's say if you run ChatGPT ads as well, right? There'll be a certain set of numbers that comes into this picture as well. And most importantly, you need to track it. Traditionally, if you don't have a system to track your WhatsApp sales, right, you only stop at level 10. You want to be able to track the cost per WhatsApp message sent. You want to track your cost per WhatsApp message schedule appointment if that's related to your business. And of course, you want to track the cost per WhatsApp sale. And most importantly, you want to track how profitable is this initiative as well. At the end of the day, you want to identify whether a media channel is worth investing more or lesser money into. And this is definitely useful for advertisers who wants to track their WhatsApp ads profitability from a full funnel standpoint. If I can emphasize one more thing, the most important objective is to send the best quality data back to the ads platform so that they can find more people who are like people who have bought from you. So in this case, for people who have actually came down to the store and made an appointment who bought from you, right? You want Facebook to have this data. Once you feed this data back to Facebook ads via Facebook conversion API, and for Google ads it's enhanced conversions, all these platforms are able to better understand where your best quality traffic comes from. Once you feed the best quality data back to the ads platform, they will then be able to help you find more efficiently who your ideal customers are. The system I've created replaces the guesswork 100% with ROI clarity, showing exactly which ads are making money and which ads are burning it. We fix broken data. With server-side tracking, this is the best form of tracking for anyone to use. And we create a single source of truth when it comes to deciding where to put your advertising budgets at. We also enable confidence scaling because we tell you specifically what ads work and what ad doesn't. Because when it comes to traditional tracking, right, people visit your browser, there's a lot of restrictions with iOS 14, there's a lot of ad blockers, there's a lot of cookie deletion. The Meta browser pixels or traditional browser-based pixels doesn't work very well. So with server-side tracking, this solves this problem entirely. We also make your ads smarter. Like what I said, we give the platform better data so that they can find better customers for you. For a media buyer out there, say this is a holy grail. Offline WhatsApp conversions usually is super messy, but right now you can really optimize for the most important thing, which is profit. In full transparency, I'm still in the midst of developing this product. I'm currently onboarding a small group of clients to test using this system. If your business primarily use WhatsApp as a primary sales media channel, feel free to send me a message on my website. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next one.